Hello everyone, this is Nick, and we're gonna do some more cooking stuff today. Today I'm going to be making spicy cheese cookies. Now, if you have by any chance seen my lemon shortbread video, this follows a relatively similar concept of having 300 grams of flour, 200 grams of butter, except now this time, clearly, since they are spicy cheese cookies, we're not going to be adding sugar because we don't want them to be sweet. We want them to be spicy, cheesy, salty-ish. No real salt in the butter, but still the cheese will provide some salt. We're going to want some cheese. Now here in Argentina, we've got this Reggianito. This is basically a Parmesano style cheese. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same thing. Purists will bitch at me for saying that, but it's pretty much the same thing. Now I'm going to want about 170 grams of that. This is actually a recipe I think I had seen, I want to say Nigella do something like 15 years ago, and I started making it, and it originally had, I think her recipe had 150 grams of cheese, of a Parmesan style cheese, sort of a hard grainy-ish cheese. But then there was once where I grated a whole bunch, and my original intent was only to add 150 to it, but instead I kind of spaced out and added everything I had grated to it. And it turned out to be way more than 150. It was probably getting close to like 170, 180, and it was even better. So I actually put 170, sometimes a little bit more cheese in it. Who would have thunk, right? More cheese, good. We're also going to be putting 2 egg yolks, not the whites, just the yolks, into all this mixture later on. And for a little bit of spice, I am a huge supporter of Naga flakes. I really, really like these. These are, there we go. Don't do that, camera. What's it called? Naga Viper pepper, I think, was the hottest pepper in the world up until about 2011, when it was taken over by the Carolina Reaper. And I think there's some other varieties now that are even stronger than the Carolina Reaper. But up until 2011, this was the strongest pepper in the world. And this is clearly the dried up flakes of it. This is not fresh, obviously. I got this little container, what was it, in Spice Mountain, I think in the Borough Market in London when we were there last year. Sadly, we're supposed to be in Berlin and Prague, kind of exploring that part of the world right now, but you know, COVID. So this is everything we're going to need to make these spicy cheese cookies. Let's go ahead and get right into the process. Now again, if you've seen my lemon shortbread video, the beginning procedure is very similar, but let me go ahead and start grating that cheese up and get as much as I want. So you'll notice it's kind of got a lot of flex. It's not really a Parmesan, but you know, if I were to kind of break it, you'd see that it's got a very similar texture. Not as grainy, not as tasty. Clearly, if you've had this actual stuff from Italy, you know, that shit would blow your mind. But this is pretty much the same thing. Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. How did we come up with this shit as a civilization? See this white stuff that comes from these animals? Just fucking put it in a bowl and like let it sit there. It's ridiculous. Unbelievable. There we go, yeah. Okay, I went a little overboard. That's about 221. 225, so we've got 170 in there, and the rest, whatever, pasta, you know, think of something to do with cheese. Now I probably want to make sure not to put in about 225 grams worth of cheese, although that would probably be pretty fucking amazing, but let's go ahead and get that 171. 175. Yeah, there we go. 175. 175 grams of shredded Reggianito cheese, which is pretty much a Parmesan. All right, so again, basic concept, same basic concept as the lemon shortbread cookies. Get a big fuck off bowl, put your 200 grams of butter in there. Oh, that's been sitting there for a while. Oh no, it might be a little bit less than 200 grams of butter. And cut it into cubes. All right, that's good enough. So take the 300 grams of flour, get it into that sieve, and just start sifting, right? The word is sifting through, oops, sorry. Sifting your flour through the sieve. And again, if you have seen my lemon shortbread video, you know where this is going. We're going to take each individual cube of butter and smush it into the flour, get it nice and
floury.
It's actually pretty funny. I've got a buddy in North Carolina who I told about this recipe something like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And because the whole thing with this is, I know this is very unorthodox for a lot of people, or what a lot of people think is generic Christmas food, but I make these for Christmas time here, for my family and my in-law family. And I've been doing this for about 6, 7, maybe 8 years, and they all absolutely love it. And I told my buddy in North Carolina about that, and he's like, oh shit, give me the recipe, you know, I want to try to make them. And I have not done that yet, but here's this video now. So Russ, if you're watching, this one's for you. I hope you're fine with grams. Fucking Americans. All joking aside, I really am just kidding. But you guys really need to stop using like Fahrenheit and cups and ounces and, you know, come into the 21st century, guys. You rebelled against England, gained your independence, and still use their stupid systems. Now, like I mentioned in my lemon shortbread video, I know this is kind of a broken record already, but, you know, it's basically the same recipe up until this point. But if you have one of those kitchen mixers, I personally would say you don't use one, because I have a feeling that that whole, like, turny thing would kind of make it very compact. As it's trying to mix it all in, and you still want it to be kind of grainy for a while. So I personally would recommend that you use your hands for this part of the process. Now that's looking pretty damn good. You know, it's getting sort of like that little sandy kind of texture that we want. This is a pretty good moment to go ahead and just dump in my 175 grams of cheese. Get that mixed in there. There might be a couple of lumps of butter. No big deal. And right about now is also where I want to get my naga flakes into there. I don't want to put the egg yolks in just yet. I want that to be the final part of the process when you start to get it kind of nice and wet and make it sort of a clumpy dough. So I'm going to go ahead and put those in. Let me wash my hands first. All right, so let's get some of this in here. I don't really have a quantity for this. I usually just kind of like sprinkle a bunch in. Let's do it the pro genius way. All right, that's 18 grams worth of naga flakes. Let's see if that even changes with how much I put in. And you don't want to go over this. Well, you do whatever you want, but this shit is, oh fuck. Oh. Whew. I'm gonna get the fucking sniffles. Oh shit. Yeah. This is truly some amazing stuff. It really, really is. Oh. This is like truly, truly delicious. It smells like passion fruit, which is deceptively amazing because it's also spicy as royal fuck. But it smells amazing. It smells sweet like passion fruit. I don't know how much I've put in, a couple of sprinkles worth. Let's check. Wow. All right, that's down to 16 grams. Thing is, with these quantities, grams, 1, 2 grams, it could be It could be 1.5, it could be 2.5 grams, I don't know. But more or less, I put about 2 grams of Naga flakes in there. And I'm tempted to put a little bit more, but I mean, that's fine. That's fine for now. These cookies are gonna have some kick. Oh, here it comes.
Achoo.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so good. And they're also extremely deceptive because when these come out of the oven, they're white, right? They don't have any color to them. They're sort of a generic yellowish white like you would expect from a cheese cookie, right? And I used to make I still do. I still make a variation of these where instead of Naga flakes, I put this stuff. So we just take red pepper and you grind it up and you kind of get this, what we call ají molido. And what I would always do is put some of that in here, and it would give it not only a nice kind of spicy-ish taste, but it would also give it a very red color. So people always thought that the dark red one was the spicy one. Little did they know it was the one that looked most like just a regular plain cheese cookie. That's the one that was gonna kill them. So, you know, people that can't really handle their spice, they'd have the regular yellowish plain cookie and they would absolutely die from it, which I think is pretty hilarious. But this is gonna be absolutely wonderful. All right, now let's go ahead and just get the 2 egg yolks. Again, not with the whites, just the yolks. All right, got my beautiful 2 egg yolks. Oh, they're different colors, look at that. These can just go, you don't need to do one at a time. They just go right in, and there you go. And give it a nice mix up. Break it up, mix it up. This is everything that's gonna go into these cookies. Nothing else is going in. Now, because of the fact that we just put 2 egg yolks in there and they kind of, all got stuck to very specific pieces of the dough, and then you still have a bunch of grainy stuff like this that doesn't have any egg yolk, we're actually going to need to work this dough a little bit. It's not gonna rise, nothing, anything like that, but we are gonna need to work it just to make sure that egg yolk gets distributed around the whole thing. And it'll also be easier to work because we're gonna have to turn these into little cylinders to get them nice and cylindrical before we put them in the fridge to cool down. So we're gonna pack that down a little bit and get it here onto my countertop. Now, like I said, we're gonna need to work this a little bit because it's, if I tried to take this right now and make cylinders, that happens, right? It's impossible, absolutely impossible. I could try to pack it as hard as I want. I try to make a cylinder and it just breaks apart, right? So we're gonna need to work this a little bit. It's looking pretty good, probably needs a little bit more. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, or I guess divide it into 4 pieces. That's pretty good. And get them into little cylindrical shapes. And you might notice, if it's your first time working with this, you might notice that it kind of, when you start to roll it out, it'll get sort of separated inside, and that's totally fine. Just, find a way to have a little bit of patience and work with it. It might happen here. You'll see what I mean if it does happen. But no, that turned out pretty good. That's pretty good. If they come out a little bit deformed with fingers and stuff, that's totally fine. It matters not. So there we've got 4 cylindrically shaped cheese doughy things. There's some parts that are thicker, parts that are thinner. Again, doesn't matter in the slightest. These are still going to be absolutely delicious and edible no matter which way you fuck it up. But now these need to go into the fridge for 45 minutes minimum. These need to be really nice and stiff before going into the oven. All right, so that's been in the fridge for a while. It's been about 50-55 minutes, so they're really nice and cold. Now we need to get these out of here, get them right here, get them cut into little sort of circular I don't know what the shape would be, but we're gonna go ahead and start cutting those. They're not gonna pull up like whatever receptacle you have them on. They might stick. You just have to kind of grab them lengthwise, I guess, and like give it a little tug. If you try to grab it from one end and pull up, it'll probably break. If it breaks, it really doesn't matter. We're not perfectionists here. Anyway, we're gonna want probably around, what is that, like 1.5 centimeters, 2 centimeters? No, it's not 2 centimeters just yet, but yeah, it's about 1.5 centimeters-ish. Preheating my oven as well. It's roughly gonna be the same heat that I did my lemon shortbread cookies on. It's gonna be about 185 to 195 degrees Celsius. I can't remember what that was in Fahrenheit. I can check the thermometer again. It was like, I don't know, 375, 380, somewhere around there, I think. And they're gonna go in. I actually can't remember if they cook a little bit quicker. So I'll give them a check at about 15 minutes, but it might be the same. It might also be about 15 to 17 minutes, much like my lemon shortbread. I'll have to check. Oh no, the pattern doesn't fit. I'm not going to be able to put this last one. Oh, the memes, the absolute memes. Right, so there we go. Unlike my shortbread video, no fork poking, no extra sprinkle of anything. I mean, shit, you could sprinkle some extra cheese on there if you want. I don't know. Wow, that would actually be pretty interesting to try. I'd probably get like a nice little kind of crispy cooked cheese thing on top. I'm going to have to try that out at some point in time. But yeah, these are going in the oven. All right, let's check these out. All right, that's not looking too bad. They might need a little bit more. Let me check though. They're super delicate. Yeah, I think they need a little bit more. Sadly, my oven door was open for those 20 seconds or so, but we'll give it another 2-3 minutes and see how they come out. Alright, they've been in there for about 3 more minutes, bringing the grand total up to just around 18 minutes or so. Let's go ahead and check them out. Let's get a couple from this side now. Oh, that smell. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's pretty damn good. I might have not had that in the shot when I first initially checked, but that's a pretty damn good color right there. It's getting, oh shit, that's hot. That's getting really nice dark brown, but not burnt. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the oven off. Oh, I messed one up with the thumb of my thing. The issue with these is they're super fragile. And I had this glovey thing, and I guess I touched here and I messed that one up. But they're super fragile when they just come out of the oven. They'll kind of stiffen up once you let them cool, but let's go ahead and get these out of this hot pan and onto a plate. I'm messing a lot of these cookies up. They're super brittle as well. Like even when they're, cool and dried or whatever, they've cooled down, like they're super, they just crumble. I mean, if you grab them hard enough, clearly they're just gonna crumble in your fingers, but once you pop them in your mouth, get ready, because they're just gonna fucking melt into cheesy, spicy goodness. So yeah, once again, we did get these out at 18 minutes, and that was around, I don't remember what it is in Fahrenheit, but that was like 190 Celsius, 190, 195 Celsius for about 18 minutes. I'm guessing, is that like 375 or something? I don't know, I'll check. You will already have seen it in the video, because I'll just put it up as a little number that you can look at. But I always have to kind of like it. For me, it's not an exact science in terms of time and temperature and all that kind of stuff, because my oven, is pretty crap. Oh, there's a disaster of a cookie. Look at that. Poor little guy got chopped in half. You know, I don't have, if you have one of those fancy schmancy convection ovens, you know, go fuck yourself, drown in acid, you pompous piece of shit. Good for you. I don't. I have a piece of shit. So, you know, I really have to, like, it's kind of hit or miss every single time I make anything. You know, I can't just set a timer and go fucking do whatever in my life. I have to come and check and look and all that kind of stuff. I dare say this is probably the most perfect batch I've ever made. That color right there is exactly what I've always strived to try to get. And I honestly think this is the best time I've ever made these cookies. I'm very, very, very happy with that. But I'm going to go ahead and let those cool down. They're extremely hot right now. What I absolutely love about these cookies, the cheesy cookies, is all the little kind of grated pieces of cheese. It's not Parmesan, it's Reggianito. They kind of, they cook and they kind of harden inside. I guess if you shred it even finer, if you use kind of like the, what part is it? Like this part or this part, and kind of get it into a really, really, really fine cheese, it'll probably just melt into the cookie. But using sort of like the thicker part, you know, you'll actually get long flakes of cheese, and they harden into this gorgeous crunchy bit of cheese in your cookie, and it just gives it this really nice texture and really nice crunch. It's absolutely amazing. But I'm going to go ahead and let those cool down for a while, and we will be back later on to give them a taste test and a cut test. Oh, a little bit of dough, cylinder dough. All right, so these have been resting for a while. There may or may not be some cookies missing. What can I say? I couldn't wait. Or no, better said, I was busy doing other things, and I wanted a cookie, and so did my wife. So there are a few missing. They're fucking amazing, by the way. Unbelievable. But yeah, they crumble very, very easily. But yeah, they're baked perfectly, absolutely perfectly. This nice golden brown right here on the bottom, that's amazing. And yeah, they just fall apart. They just crumble really, really easily. Because, you know, flour, butter, very buttery, very cheesy, and they taste absolutely phenomenal. Really good spice to them. A lot of bits of this hard cheese just gives it a nice bit of crunch. It's just absolutely unbelievable. Easily the best batch of these I've ever made in 6+ years. Honestly, cannot believe how good they came out. I'm actually very proud of myself. That's amazing. Anyway, go ahead and make these cookies. Use whatever spice you want. Use a bit more cheese if you want. Use less cheese if you want. Do whatever you want. But make these cookies. Arguably, you probably couldn't really call them cookies, could you? It's not really much of a cookie. It's like a thing. Like, it'd have to be sort of a bit more flat and wide for it to be a cookie, wouldn't it? I don't know. But, I mean, flour, butter, cheese, spicy shit, and eggs. Really can't go wrong. Absolutely delicious. Make these.